know where I was. I distracted myself. But toxic relationships, enmeshment, ride or die, loyalty is good, actually. Oh, fuckity fuck shit. I don't remember where I was, to be honest with you. You're the golden red got the strength to carry on, Hello, beautiful soul family. Britt Cannon here, host of the Walk On Podcast, the podcast where I try to demystify spirituality, personal growth and healing, and whatever else I feel like talking about. This week's episode is called Toxic Loyalty, and in it I talk about how the cult-like mentality of toxic families really models for us and sets us up for codependent relationships, or really in its most extreme and worst case scenario for being abused. You know, when we're shown that the worst possible thing you could ever do is walk away or stand up for yourself, that's what we go through life believing. Before we get into it, I just want to remind you to give this video a little like, a little comment, maybe share it, maybe click the subscribe or the notification buttons, and join the squad. Join the healing revolution, baby. Yeah, I love doing this work. I would love to see some growth. And I would just love to hear from you. Let me know what's up. Do you like this stuff? Do you resonate with what I'm saying? Are you having a hard time with healing? Do you have experience with the family's cult-like, toxic family's cult-like mentality? Let me know. Horror stories of toxic friendships. I love it all. I love it all. Let's heal together. So toxic families, I was just listening to a video that kind of talked about this in terms of like a corporate environment or like a government where like the government creates all of this unnecessary bureaucratic paperwork to maintain itself. So you get lost in these like tunnels of nonsense just to sustain the institution instead of just like cutting through the bullshit and getting what you need. And I think that's a really like interesting manifestation of what I'm talking about, where like in a toxic family, everything exists to uphold the institution of the family. And that's because everyone's enmeshed. You know, if you don't know what enmeshment is, it's where there's no boundaries between like the self and others. So like an enmeshed parent might like over divulge information to a child that they're not like mature enough or ready to handle. They may emotionally lean on their children for support. There might not be a lot of like appropriateness in terms of like being in each other's business, or there just isn't a real understanding and respect of like I am me and you are you, and we are both autonomous beings. And so toxic families, I mean, kind of like the point, or like I don't know if it's the side effect or the goal of abuse is enmeshment, right? It's like, I don't know where you end and I begin, because it's much harder to extricate yourself from a situation where the lines are totally blurred and you don't know where you start or begin. Every time I've gotten out of a toxic relationship, I am like shocked by the amount at which I lost myself while I was going through it, right? Like I totally forgot who I was. I totally forgot what I liked. I totally forgot what my boundaries were, if I even had them in the first place, my integrity, you know, I just like lost touch with myself. And so when I have to rebuild, I have to start all the way from the fucking bottom. And that's why I no longer get into relationships that require that kind of like death of self for me to participate in them. Or I just don't do that to myself. You know, I really focus on prioritizing my connection with me so that I don't lose it. And then the relationship becomes enmeshed or toxic or codependent because I'm not holding on to my sense of self, whether it's like the other person expecting that of me and really liking that kind of relationship where there's a total enmeshment and control, or if it's just because of me and I'm a codependent ass Libra, you know what I mean? So whether it's on purpose of the other person or like just a pattern of mine, I really work on it. And if anyone is like really demanding of that sacrifice of my sense of self, then I kick them to the curb. And that is because that is like a hard-earned lesson in my life. I have really struggled with, I mean, first of all, let's just rewind and like go back to the beginning. So there's the enmeshment, and there's the loyalty, and then there's the pride in the loyalty. You know, like we show up for each other no matter what. We're always there for each other. You know, we will enable each other to the bitter end. I can talk shit about my family, but you can't. I will kick anybody's ass for you. And it's not that loyalty is an inherently bad thing. I think loyalty is an integral part of trust, and of the trust that needs to be in place in order for vulnerability, authenticity, and real intimacy to form. Loyalty is a beautiful thing. And if you find yourself being a loyal person, I think that's a really beautiful and valuable trait to have. I love my loyalty, and I love showing up for the people that I love who have earned my trust and who, you know, love and support me and are loyal to me back. But I've spent many years loyal to the wrong people, loyal to the most challenging, the most high conflict, the most demanding, the most taken ass people. And it really always breaks my heart and feels like a huge betrayal when I eventually wake up to the truth of the situation and realize that the person has no interest in being loyal back to me, or that their standard of loyalty is totally different than mine. And so, as with everything I talk about with toxic relationships, there's a double standard present, you know? I talk about this in the full-length episode, which, by the way, if you want to go check it out, it's an hour long, it's audio only, the link is down below. You can also check out my website, my Instagrams, my other YouTube channel. There's like a whole bunch, my blog, my book. There's a whole bunch of links in the description if you want to find out more about me or listen to the full-length hour-long deep dive. I'm trying to keep these to 20 minutes, although last week's was almost an hour, so I'm not doing super great at it. Long-winded, honey. So societally, our focus on in pop culture, you know, a lot of the songs about relationships are rooted in limerence and like unhealthy, unrequited love and longing, or rooted in that ride or die, you know, I'll beat somebody's ass for you. And a lot of the romantic movies, a lot of shows about family, you know, it's all this idealized version of like a group dynamic or a romantic relationship or friendships wherein which everyone is there for each other, everyone shows up for each other, even when it's toxic, even when it's hard, in the sense that me showing up for you is actually me sacrificing a piece of myself. And it's almost like enmeshment is romantic, you know, that it's like Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, you know what I mean? Like this, like, oh, we're so toxic, we drink each other's blood, like it gets so ugly, we dance with our demons. Like, first of all, very Angie and Billy Bob, so like been done. But also like, let's just talk about like a healthy relationship. Let's just talk about, oh yeah, I'm an individual, they're an individual, we both are individual people. You know what I really get horny for is like respecting each other's boundaries, or like communication with emotional honesty, or like, this relationship's so good it allows me to stay in my integrity. Like, I don't have to lose my hobbies or my friendships or even masturbation just because I'm in a relationship, you know? Like, That's what I am here for. The good shit, the healthy shit, the equal shit, the reciprocal shit. But along my way, I do experience, or I have experienced, these heavy betrayals that have taken a long time to heal from and get over, because I had to learn the hard way that the person that I was ride or die for wasn't ride or die for me. The double standard in all of these toxic relationships, in any toxic relationship, if you pay attention, there is a double standard. The one who holds the power, the one who does the abusing, is usually less willing to give than the person who's being abused. So in my family, there's this ride or die mentality where, like, you know, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you get arrested for DUIs, no matter how much of an alcoholic you are, no matter how much you abandon your kids, not that you have to like cut off alcoholics in general, but just in my family's case, like, no matter the harm that you cause, it's okay. You know, I'll give you shit for it. I'll be passive aggressive. I will sabotage your recovery. This is like how we treat each other in my family. Well, not me, because I'm out of it, but you know, this is the standard. This is how it played out. But I will support you. I will get you out of trouble. I'll pay for your lawyer, you know. I'll give you a place to live, whatever. But when I came out, or when I was in therapy and I was like, hello, yes, I would like to talk about my childhood, if you wouldn't mind. Everyone was like, oh no, hell no. How dare you do that? How dare you play the victim? Like, blah, blah, blah. You're so uppity. You think you're so much better than us. And it was like the worst thing I could do, just to name what happened to me. And suddenly I was a leper. You know, suddenly no one wanted to touch me, or they just wanted me to shut the fuck up and go back to normal, which reminds me of the whole COVID situation. Like, normal wasn't good. Like, there's a reason why normal was unsustainable in the first place. And talking about it is how we move through it. Actually moving through it is how we get over it and heal from it, and can like forge a real bond that exists in like reality and in respect for each other. And they weren't willing to do that. So it's like, I'll bend over backwards for you as long as you're a train wreck. But if you're trying to heal and take care of yourself, that's where I draw the line. And that's really what I experienced. And so I realized, like, oh, me bending over backwards for these people, me taking care of them from the time when I was a baby, didn't count at all. Like, it didn't, that's not where the loyalty lies. The loyalty lies in, we're going to make this mess together, and like, pigs in mud, we're just gonna roll in it and get each other really dirty, and like, that, call that good enough, call that loyal enough. And in my friendships, which is where I experienced the most of my betrayals, because, you know, friendships are intimate. Like, we really get to know each other. We tell each other our deepest, darkest secrets, and shit can get real ugly, especially if you're dealing with someone who's toxic or abusive or high conflict or narcissistic, whatever you want to call it. And you know, it was really an issue for me. Like, there's this one ex-friend of mine who was a very like, a sort of one of those perpetual victims, you know, like a covert narcissist who doesn't go after things as in like, look at me, although there was a lot of that. But also like, I'm so sad, everyone's jealous of me, everyone picks on me, you know, I can't get a break, everyone's so mean, I'm a victim, I can't stand up for myself. And so here would come big bad me, you know, coming in, telling everybody what's what, standing up for this person, making myself look like a fool. And when it came time to stand up for me, crickets, you know. And this is how I had to learn, the very hard way, how to not withhold my loyalty, but first of all, to tamper down my loyalty and realize that I'm a little too quick to go guns blazing for the people that I love. You know, like, there's no reason why an adult can't handle their own conflicts. If someone is expecting you to go to the mattresses for them, to stand up for them, to defend them, to lay their boundaries for them, that's kind of a red flag, because they should be in their power enough to do it for themselves. You know, we're not here to be codependent with each other. We're here to build community. We're here. Maya Angelou says this thing all the time, that only equals can be friends. And if I'm in a place where I need to be like a caretaker of you, a defender of you, a fucking warrior of you, that's an issue. You should be fighting your own battles. I can be support, I can cheer you on, but I no longer have anyone in my life who requires me to stand up for them like that, or who even like elicits that Captain Save-A-Ho complex in me. So I really had to work on that. That was a me problem, right? And then I started thinking about like, who in my life isn't low conflict? Like, who is low drama? Who is easy to be around? Who exists in a space of just like being present, enjoying our connection because it's great. We sit around, we talk about our lives, we don't talk shit about people. We're not constantly like having a, conniption because this person's talking shit about this person, that person's talking shit. It's just like so tired, especially now at 34 years old. Like, I don't have time for it. I too old, too tired, too smart. Goodbye. And and my life, because I've been practicing discernment, and because I've unpacked these unhealthy attachments to loyalty, this toxic cult-like loyalty that was created in my family and maintained in my family, and really like held up as the best way to be. Someone who doesn't, obviously I'm not a snitch, but like someone, you're not allowed to call each other out when you're doing harm, and like you can't live like that. All your resentments come to the surface. Like, spoiler alert, I hate to break it to you, but when you're feeling resentful, even if you don't say anything, it will come out in your behavior. If someone hurts you and you don't address it, it will come out in your behavior in one way or another, whether it's subconscious or not. I used to, with one of my ex-partners, I used to not ever, 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 ever tell him when I was mad at him. I would just stuff it down and carry on and keep a smile on my face and like do my thing. But it would come out in my dreams. And then I would be mad at him because of my dream, instead of just telling him the actual real life reason that I was mad at him. Like, it's not cool behavior. And if you grew up in a family where the loyalty took precedence over the truth, which is usually the case, where we don't tell our teachers that mommy was drunk last night or that mommy gets drunk every day because we need to protect the family. We don't need to tell CPS when they come visit how bad you have it, that you get hit every day, or that you've been sexually abused, because like we don't want anyone to go to jail. Like, it's just like everyone in their family has like an uncle that none of the kids are allowed, not everyone, but this is like a pretty common thing, like a funny uncle that no kids are allowed to be left alone with. It's just this like open family secret where that's everyone's idea of managing to keep the peace and protect the children to the best of their ability, instead of removing the problem. Which brings me back to a point I made in the podcast episode. This is like free ball, and so the content is not always identical, which is why it's worth it to check out both. But it reminds me of when like there's a bunch of political ideologies in a room, and there will be one person who's on the far right, who's super bigoted, and everyone, even the people on the far left, are expected to tiptoe around them and not hurt their feelings and not upset them. And you're causing trouble or picking a fight if you say anything, or even if you like express your identity in a way that triggers these special snowflakes. And that's what it feels like in toxic families. Like we're all protecting and coddling and acquiescing to the most toxic people in the room. And those of us who have been victimized, who are just trying to find healing, who are just trying to get to the truth, who are just trying to feel better, are the ones who are always cast aside and stepped over and like not prioritized. And that's unfair, and it really does kind of lubricate you to slide into romantic and platonic and even work situations that feel similar to that, you know, put in places where loyalty is one-sided, or put in places where enmeshment is the rule instead of the exception, or like is the goal, you know, it is the goal for you to lose yourself to me. And then you just find yourself like not only going through abuse, not only being used and abused and devalued and discarded, but also having that deep sense of betrayal where it's like, I went to bat for you, dude. Like I told people off for you. I like got out of pocket for you, and you can't do the same for me. And that betrayal wound is like a deeper hurt in my experience than a lot of the others, because it's just like, I don't know. That's the one that's taken me many, 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 many years to feel all the way through. And I was so angry for so long. And I just want to leave you with this truth of my experience, with this silver lining, with just a nugget of hope if you're struggling through this. If you find yourself bending over backwards and being like incredibly loyal to people who are not loyal back to you, if you find yourself in that betrayal space, that since I started practicing discernment, since I started honestly and consciously communicating, go check out my video, Conscious Communication. If you haven't watched it yet, I'll put it somewhere around here. Once I started like really being myself and stepping into my truth and making the truth like acceptable to me and celebrating it and being really discerning and you know, moving away from before I fell in love with them, before I got enmeshed with them, before the commitment happened, when I realized that someone wasn't really here for me earlier and earlier and earlier on, and I kept the people close to me who showed up, who loved me, who saw me, who made me feel comfortable and safe instead of scared and triggered. Those relationships don't require that kind of loyalty. They don't inspire that kind of loyalty in me, and it just isn't even on the table, because everyone just is. You know, everyone's an adult. Everyone knows how to fight their own battles. There's no drama. There's no backbiting. There is no betrayal. And that's beautiful. And in fact, if somebody did fuck up, like, you know, hurt my feelings or whatever, I could just have a conversation, and it wouldn't be the way it used to be. It wouldn't hurt so bad. It wouldn't be so hard. And I think that everyone I know and love, and everyone who's like in my soul family would receive that well, and like, and take responsibility and reassure me and love me through it. And same for me, you know, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We all occasionally accidentally cause harm, and all you can do is do better. All you can do is receive someone's truth with love and patience and kindness, and all you can do is forgive yourself and move forward and do better. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, go check out the podcast, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. As you go forward in this week, I just challenge you to unpack the unhealthy, toxic ride or die loyalty that you may have been romanticizing. Just look at the ways it might not have served you in your life. And if you have any cool discoveries or light bulb moments or realizations, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Happy healing. Bye.